I'm Rich Pogin. I'm on the board of directors of Good News for Israel, and I'm here with Don Finto, who I like to call a legend in his own time. And Don, we won't go into a lot of background about yourself, but you're an author of 2 books. I know you don't consider yourself a scholar. I consider you a scholar on issues of Israel and the Jewish people. But can you just give a plug for your ministry and your webpage for people real quickly?
I started Caleb Company in 1997, basically, because I wanted to see old people still taking their mountains. I wanted to raise up the next generation. I wanted people to grab what I call the Israel key that unlocks world revival, and to know that today's the time for Jewish people to come to faith.
Wonderful. And just so people know, there's no preparation of these questions I'm going to hit you with, but and I'm going to start out with what I think is a real tough one. It's one that I've pondered a lot. Luke 21:23 to 25, and it talks about Jesus talks about that Jerusalem will be trampled by the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled. And what's really interesting about this to me, the Amplified Bible reads that into the time of the full number of Gentiles have been come into saving grace, and a lot of Gentiles think that's what it means. What does that fulfilled mean to you?
I believe the time of the Gentiles was fulfilled in 1967, when Israel took Jerusalem. Because in 1967, for the first time in centuries, that prophecy in Luke 21 was fulfilled. And for all those centuries before that, what we call the church, the body of believers, was Gentile-dominated. But in 1967 was the beginning of the Jesus movement, where hundreds of thousands of Jewish people came in. So now we're no longer just a Gentile church. We're a Jewish Gentile body of believers. We will never go back to the time of the Gentiles. That is gone. The Jews are back, and they're here to stay in the kingdom.
And Don, to echo that, one of the things I did was to it's so easy to do word searches now on the computer, and I did a word search on the word fulfilled, and I looked in the New Testament to see if I could find an indication where it ever indicated full number, and it seemed to always indicated completeness.
Right. But even see, in my estimation, even if it said full number, to me, it would be, in God's sight, the number of Gentiles that were going to come into the kingdom before the Jews came back. So the full number even doesn't stifle me, because I still think it means the same thing. Paul says the same thing over in Romans 11. He says, until that Israel has experienced a hardening in part, until, and it's again the same thing, the fullness of the Gentiles, or the full number of the Gentiles has come in. And so all Israel will be saved. So the only 2 times that he's talked about the fullness of the Gentiles.
Thank you.